Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh Evanoff. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. It is Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. We got UFC 276 to go over. We got UFC Vegas 58 to hit. And then we got some MMA and boxing news as always. Before we get into all the action, if you want 10% off your order at rogueenergy.com, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. It's code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs at rogueenergy.com. Phenomenal sponsor of the show, as always, rogueenergy.com, code SOUNDOFF at checkout. Last Saturday night from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, UFC 276. I feel pretty comfortable saying it did not live up to the hype on paper. That does not mean there were not some excellent moments on this International Fight Week card. Let's go and hit the main event. Bit of a downer, I'll admit, but Israel Adesanya and still the UFC middleweight champion defeats Jared Cannonier via unanimous decision. Scorecards reading 49-46, 49-46, 50-45. Look, Angel, there's no other way to put it. This a lot of people hated this fight. I don't think it was as bad as the Romero fight. But I also think it was not a very great fight either. I mean, it was just Izzy trying to outpoint him, and to his credit, it takes two to tango. Jared Cannonier really didn't put a lot forth either. So, I mean, first of all, give me your takeaways on the fight itself, and go ahead and also give me your takeaways on kind of the backlash, because Izzy got a lot of hate following this one, and just kind of your perspective on all that.
Hey, man, like you said, it goes two ways, right? It's not just him, it's the opponent as well, and I'm going to be really, obviously, this comment was made on the night. I think in a way it makes sense, but it doesn't. But you remember someone said, you have to beat the champ to be the champ. And I'm not saying in the sense of like, I'm trying to figure out how to word this properly. As the challenger, you have a certain kind of pressure. You need to be the one taking the risk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To an extent, the champ doesn't have to take risk unless stuff is going on so risks have to be made to be taken. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I felt like Jared Cannonier lacked that and lacked a good game plan. I felt like he should have just tried to, do some things that were risky, man, and really bring it to him. I mean, he really had to crush the space, and he didn't do that. It gave Izzy a lot of room to work with. Finally, though, when he did bring him up against the cage and start kind of doing some kind of work there, yeah, he found a little bit of success, but it wasn't the kind of things that he needed to do to win the fight necessarily. It was more or less maybe stall the inevitable in a sense, he was kind of like, it was more like pausing the fight than anything, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, I felt like we needed a little bit more out of him, some more risk, but I get it, man. It's hard to get in on a guy like that, and especially one that has such power and is so quick. I mean, with a number of kicks coming in and Izzy doesn't just set up one kick, he sets up 4 or 5 kicks that lead into, 6 or 7 other combinations, you know what I mean? He's not an easy read for anybody on the feet. And, yeah, I know. I don't know. I mean, hate's going to come his way. And I saw some statistic come out of, him finishing fights or being one of the lowest percentage finishing one of the lowest finishing champs right now. Or whatever it is, something like that. But I'll tell you what, the bottom 3 guys are the 3 best guys right now in the whole UFC. It was with the lowest percentage, it was Volk, Izzy, and Kamaru. And I'm like, there's a reason they're still champ, and there's a reason they have the records they do. So you can hate them all you want, but I mean, it's not like his next fight can't be exciting. It's not like his next fight, there can't be someone challenging, and that applies to all of the guys, right? At the end of the day, I think every guy. I mean, this is gonna happen, right? There's gonna be a fight like this every now and then, and he has to be safe, man. I mean, he's not gonna go out here and take risk against Jared Cannonier. He can't. He's not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? He can't just do that.
For sure, and I think the biggest thing that I want to tell people is it does take 2 to tango. This is something I've never understood. Whenever Izzy and Romero sucked, Izzy got a lot of the brunt of the hate for that. Whenever this fight sucked, Izzy's getting a lot of the brunt of the hate for it. And I understand that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you shouldn't talk trash if you're going to come out and point fight. And to an extent, I think that's true. But at the same time, I think I heard somebody else put it this way. Izzy's the champ, and Jared Cannonier wants what he has. It's up to him to bring the fight. And I do kind of agree with that. As much as, Izzy can talk, Izzy's got to sell a fight. That's what he has to do. And matters more to him than, fans being happy about the fight. His paycheck. He earns significantly more if he goes out and wins and he retains his title. Winning is everything. And I know that there are some fighters, some champions who like to take more risks than others. Izzy is way too intelligent of a fighter to go in and get into a firefight with one of the hardest hitters at 185 pounds. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think he expected Jared to be a lot more aggressive, but Jared, to his credit, he didn't really fight his normal style, I'd say. Normally he's always coming forward, always throwing huge shots. This one he was kind of more technical. He tried to win it on that way, and he also tried to utilize some clinch work, shot for a couple of takedowns. It wasn't his normal style, which kind of contributed, in my opinion, to how the fight went. Overall, I don't care about the hate. I won't lie and say that it was an entertaining fight. I mean, Angel, I was watching with you in The Voice. I won't lie. I zoned out for most of it. I mean, and it wasn't one I really. But
it was all right though. Like if you go back and rewatch this, it was all right. It wasn't anything special. You know what I mean? It was good. It was clean. To an extent, right? It wasn't like the perfect 50-45 or anything like that. It wasn't. Was it called Korean Zombie Volk or anything like that? But
yeah,
he did what he had to do and he won it. I don't think we had to talk a lot about this. I think things that happened earlier in the card will lead back to the conversation of Israel Adesanya, though.
Yeah, correct. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on from that one because we'll move back to Izzy in a minute. But we do got to hit the co-main event. It was a tough one to watch, Angel. It actually was because I've been watching this sport for a while now, and it's truly one of the first times like I've seen a fighter go from their youth to potentially like seeing their prime pass by. Like it's kind of a weird feeling. Now I think it remains to be seen if his time is truly by, but it was not a new era for Blessed. It was not a new Blessed era on Saturday night. So Alexander Volkanovski dominates. He defeats him. Swept the scorecards 50-45, 50-45, 50-45, wins via unanimous decision, and just batters him on the feet. I saw some people comparing this to like Tony Gaethje, and it wasn't nearly that bad of a beatdown.
Oh no.
Max had some success. He tried to mix in some takedowns, tried to utilize some clinch work. He started throwing some spinning kicks near the end, which he had some success with. I think maybe best case scenario, you can give him one round. That's about it though. Mm-hmm. But look, man, give me your thoughts on this fight. I mean, there's not a whole lot as you could say about it other than just since that fight, a lot of people thought, since their second fight, a lot of people thought that Max had actually been the one who had improved more. He had a dominant performance against Complicator. Even against Yair Rodriguez, it was not dominant, but he showed that he has new ways to win. He started utilizing takedowns. Showed his jiu-jitsu, how underrated that part of his game is. In the end, though, Volk was actually the one who really seemed to improve massively from the second fight. So go ahead and give me your perspective on the co-main event.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot. I think there's a lot of questions. I think there's a lot of things going on, but it's hard to think that the era is over. You know what I mean? I think it could just be a matchup thing. You know what I mean? It could be his Tyson Fury to Deontay Wilder, his John Jones to his DC. You know what I mean? Like, it could be a number of things. Obviously, these are very unique comparisons and all very different in different sports, right? But it could just be that at the end of the day. And I refuse to believe it's over, man, because there's no way that the guy had that kind of performance against Calvin Kattar, and we saw how Calvin Kattar, has performed his last two fights since his return, and then Yair Rodriguez, obviously, that was an interesting stylistic matchup for him. He had to deal with some stuff in there, had to change some stuff up, but he showed you he has that. He's obviously a good fighter. He's capable of adapting and changing. I think it was more of we got to accept it, man. It's just Volk's greatness. We talked about this in his last fight with Zombie Dude. We were like, he is unable to make mistakes. He is maybe, and it's something I heard, he might be the pound for pound best fighter right now in the UFC. Above Kamaru Usman. And I honestly don't see that.
I'd put him above Usman, personally.
I mean, I don't think that's unrealistic at all. I probably I actually agreed with that statement when I heard it. And, He was quick, man. You saw that was a big factor. He was quick. He was getting in and out. I don't think it was so much Max, if not Volk, just being able to do whatever he wanted, by his own will. And it wasn't even like I don't even think Max was trying to let him do it or letting it happen. It was just more. It was just happening, and we were witnessing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how you saw those Max Holloway perform. We see how that Calvin Kattar performance where he was just on. I think that was the equivalent of that where. This was Volk's night, and I think whoever you put in front of him, he has the same performance. And he's been having them consistently, which is fucking terrifying, because we don't know when it's going to end. And he's looking at greater things right now. But with that, I'm going to kind of bring it back to Max Holloway a bit. I don't know, man. I maybe it could be a weight thing. I think maybe that's the thing possibly, too. Like, maybe the weight cutting is just maybe catching up, man. It's just too much. Like, it's just not anymore. Because he's getting a little older. He's not old, by any means, but he's making 145. He has that frame. And you saw that he really didn't get going how he usually would. You know what I mean? Not even one round. You kind of saw, even the last round, like you brought up, he never got to string those longer combinations. He never got anything really rolling in any way. And granted, that's credited to Volk not allowing it to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what direction Max is going to go, if he's going to move up to 155 or he's going to stay out, or he's going to linger at 145, stick around until maybe Volk decides to go away. Probably not, because he's already hinted at 155. So, and I'm sure he's tired of cutting the weight too, and this is kind of a good way to move on. And he's had his time. He had his reign as champ. It was fun, and everybody loves him, and he's very good to promote, and he's one of the most liked guys in the sport. So, I refuse to believe it's over, man. I think we don't know that for a fact yet. I don't know if we know for a fact if Max Holloway has exited his prime yet.
Yeah, I agree, and but it definitely seems like I really do think that Saturday night could have been a turning point for Max. I really do think so. But obviously, that remains to be seen. As far as what he's going to do, because we know what Volk's going to do. He said he's going to try and move up to 155, try and defend both titles, which is interesting.
I'm assuming he's going to fight Josh Emmett, and after that, he's going to call for the 155 title, because obviously it's vacated right now.
That's true. I think that is probably the smart call, and I also think that he deserves Josh Emmett. He deserves a title shot. I think it'd be kind of.
And it sounds kind of crazy, Josh, but I think that's an interesting matchup.
I think because Josh Emmett hits so hard, he'd probably be the second hardest hitter that Volk has faced. I think from that aspect it's interesting, but I don't see a way that he wins. But even that being said, he deserves a title shot. I don't know.
I think he might surprise us. I'm not saying he'll win.
I think you'd be surprised, Angel. I think he's gonna get fucked up.
I think you'd be surprised, Josh.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyways, though.
Just you wait, Josh. Wait till I see you next time, Josh.
I wish they'd let me next door so I could spit in your fucking face, Angel. I really wish.
Fucking kill you, Josh.
Anyways, so the co-main event, it was a rough one to watch. With that being said,
not as rough as the next fight.
No, not even. Well, I don't know, man. It was a sustained beating versus a 1-round knockout. So
you're right, but Josh, I'm not gonna lie, Josh, we look like fucking idiots after our comments.
No, I don't think we're the ones who look dumb after Saturday.
No, you're not wrong, but we sounded stupid.
No, we definitely, definitely. Because that fight, Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira, we picked Sean pretty confidently because you got a guy who has been a full-time MMA fighter for about less than 2 years, doesn't have much wrestling experience. In fact, and we forget because of how it ended, Andreas Machildis, who was his first fight in the UFC, not even in the UFC anymore, Newey submitted him and is not a wrestler by trade and took him down at will. Sean Strickland is a much better wrestler than him and decides to go out there and kickbox with a 2-division champion from Glory. So you can guess what happened next. Knockout in the first round. Alex Pereira, 3 fights in UFC career. We've seen him fight for less than 30 minutes in the cage, total cage time. He's going to fight Israel Adesanya next. Give me your thoughts on his win and that fight.
Did Big Papa Dana confirm that? Like, did he 100% say that's happening?
Big Papa Dana didn't even bother showing up to the fight. But come on. Alex Pereira, they showed him in the crowd during the main event, and they know what they're doing.
I mean, I just want to know, man. You never know. It just feels.
There's nobody else. I mean, who else would you give it to?
Oh, Josh. I mean, Robert Whittaker and Marvin Vettori are going to fight again, Josh. And one of them's going to have a trilogy. God.
Nah, we're getting Alex Mejia. We're getting this trilogy.
You're not even wrong. I guess we're still getting a trilogy regardless. Holy shit, that's actually, God. Can't believe this is happening. It's kind of sad, isn't it?
I think so, and but Angel, did I not call this? Back when Mejia
No, I agreed with you. I was like, you're not even.
But even I'm surprised at how fast it.
I'm surprised how fast it was going to happen. I didn't think this was going to happen until like next year.
That's what I thought too. But even at the time, I said 3 fights. I said he's going to fight 2 Cans and Darren Till. I said he fought a Can, Bruno Silva, who is actually good, but not even close to the top 15, and then Sean Strickland. So,
dude, I mean, the UFC outsmarted you, Josh. They thought Sean Strickland was a way better matchup than Darren Till.
And they were right. Because I saw Luke Rockhold talk about it, and Luke Rockhold was like, he proved how fucking stupid he is.
You saw when he was on the Fight Companion?
No, yeah, well, I don't know if it was there, but he was like, they gave him this fight hoping that he was going to strike. And he did exactly what they wanted.
God, they weren't wrong. Hey, man, he came out. I felt for Sean, though. He came out and he was really honest with everybody. He's like, I might not be the best fighter. I might not be the, whatever. He said a bunch of things. And I was just kind of like, something, Sean, I appreciate that. I like how you stay true to yourself.
No, yeah.
I was so excited, though, Josh, for a Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya headline pay-per-view.
Is it because Sean Strickland put a 10-8 on him during the press conference?
I just thought, can you imagine Sean Strickland during all that media, dude? Like, it would have been great.
Yeah, I think the UFC's probably happy that Sean didn't win.
I mean, they're probably happy they didn't have to deal with the PR end of it, but at the same time, it would have been interesting,
Yeah, for sure.
They could have, because they could have sold. Oh no, I don't think that either. But they could have sold it a certain way. They could have been like, he beat Izzy's, former kid. They could have done. There was some stuff
They totally could have sold it, no doubt.
And obviously Sean would have sold it well, and Izzy would have sold it well. I'm not going to lose to a guy who jerks off the cart. It was going to be great. I was ready for it.
Why don't you tell me what not to do?
I was ready for it, man. I was ready to embrace it. But, no, fuck, man. I don't know when it's going to happen. Later this year, though, which is crazy to think about. And, I mean, that's going to be an interesting conversation of what's going to happen during that time, because shit, man, it's I don't know. I don't know what the betting lines are going to look like, but I'm actually insanely curious.
So early odds, from what I saw, it could have shifted by now, but from what I saw, I think last I saw Izzy was like a minus 185.
Really?
So less than just a slight favorite. So interesting. Those are the odds.
I'm sure they'll shift as time goes on.
Yeah, and I actually think this fight, I mean, obviously, it remains to be seen. I really do think that it kind of benefits Izzy. I just think this is way too soon for Alex.
Yeah.
As much as people like to talk about how kickboxing, like these, Izzy's only a kickboxer. Izzy is a kickboxer by trade, but, I think
he has good Muay Thai. He's good in the clinch. He
has a lot. He's way more adapted to the cage, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I was about to say, and even that, and then something no one ever talks about, Josh, is the round difference.
That is a big difference.
In kickboxing, what is it, 2-3 minute?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, and how many rounds?
5 rounds.
Yeah, 15 minutes. And, is that championship? Is that
That's championship even, yeah.
Wow. And you see fucking 5 rounds, 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a change, and I mean, shit, Pereira's gassed before, dude. You've seen him. I don't know if he's ever gone back, but I know he's slowed down a bit in some fights, and maybe that could play a factor.
He slowed down a little bit in the Bruno Silva fight, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, it didn't really matter, but and 5 rounds, and with 5 minutes, it could be a difference. And even Izzy has some jiu-jitsu, but Pereira, he's been working on it too with Glover. I mean, maybe he could sneak one. I don't think that's going to necessarily happen.
I don't think it's going to happen,
but it's there. The fact that it's there, it's a different look. You know what I mean? Shit, why don't you just throw it out there for a look? Like, what the fuck? What do you do? You know what I mean? It's not even necessarily that's going to be your game plan, but Izzy's just that kind of guy who's going to be like, something? this guy thinks I'm going to kickbox. I'm going to come out here and take this motherfucker. You know, I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he just did that to fuck with him. Like, he does one round, like, you know what I mean? He's one of those guys who's, he wants you to read into shit.
For sure.
So, and then we're kind of previewing it, but I mean, the matchup isn't officially made, but we're kind of talking, you know, we're kind of theorizing, a little bit of theory crafting here out of us, but I mean, Josh, it's going to be, I mean, where do you think they do that? I think that's actually a good question too.
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, somewhere in the U.S.
Can they do it somewhere in the U.S.? You don't think they'll
do
it?
Yeah, the UFC, I mean, they haven't gone to Brazil since, they're not even attending. Brazil's not even on their internal schedule list either. I mean, I suppose they could put it on there, but, you know, I don't think it'll happen. Because when the UFC, whenever this is kind of like a secret for you guys out there. The UFC, whenever they plan where they're going for pay-per-views, that shit is done typically like they do that shit yearly, where they're going to plot for pay-per-views. Fight nights, they typically go ahead and scatter them. You know what I mean? They'll figure it out like, 4 months before we'll go to London, you know. Normally, whenever they go out of the country, that shit is way pre-planned because it takes a lot. It's a lot to ask 24, 26 fighters to get their visas and shit in order.
Not even just that, dude. The crew.
Exactly, the crew. They have to figure that out. So I don't think that that's going to happen this year. So I'm assuming it's going to be the U.S. It could be that Abu Dhabi pay-per-view, but I don't necessarily think so.
You know, while we're talking about it, I keep asking you about it. What are they going to do on that Abu Dhabi pay-per-view? Like, it has to be big, right? Like,
They wanted Makhachev versus Charlie Olives, but Charlie Olives is like, you know what, dude, I fought Gaethje in his home state. I fought in everywhere. I just want to fight in Brazil once because I want to have the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
want to have the title in Brazil. So he doesn't want to fight there.
Yeah. Or neutral territory.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, no, that Abu Dhabi card, I mean, shit, I don't know who's going to headline that. Like, they haven't announced it. They don't have any, I mean, it's so far out, but it's like, I know it's like one of their last Abu Dhabi, like, cause you know, remember they made that contract way back when they were going to have, I don't know how many events there, and I know they have like one or two left, and this is one of them.
From my understanding, they signed like a pretty lengthy deal to have a yearly pay-per-view in Abu Dhabi, but I don't know how
really?
long
I thought it was only like 8 at the time, or did they renew it and extend it?
Let me see. Because I know they went ahead and did that deal back whenever they did Fight Island, because Abu Dhabi agreed to pay for it, you know?
Shout out them.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I can't find how long the deal was. But they do apparently have some sort of lengthy deal to actually keep on, like, doing pay-per-views in Abu Dhabi. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But yeah, because I don't know. I think that fight they should do it in Brazil. Fuck it. Izzy's never fought in Brazil, has he? I don't think so.
Fuck. I don't know.
It's a 5-year partnership. This is the third event of a 5-year partnership. So there we go.
Oh, okay. Well, there.
So we got a couple more years of this shit, Angel.
I know, right? We've been there since the start, though, Josh.
We have been, and you know what? If they do it like the way they did last time, you can just come and chill at my house, like they did for the last pay-per-view.
I know, right?
UFC 267, which is arguably the greatest fucking card of the year. So, anyways, man, yeah. So I think it's time to move on from that one. At least when it comes to my quick take on the Bahia Izzy fight, it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting fight, but I don't know, man. I feel like it's too soon. I don't necessarily like the kind of way they went ahead and built.
Who's behind fucking Bahia at this point? Like they need to set. I mean, Chris Curtis was. If he wins, I think he's setting himself up for success whenever he fights. Which
he's getting close. I think is Jack Hermansson's. Actually, well, shit. I don't want to get into that news because
we'll rally back on that. But
rally back. But
you know what I mean. As far as guys though, like who's close outside of like maybe a guy like Chris Curtis, and Andrikas just broke into the rankings.
Yeah, he's a far Nasruddin Imavov. If you get a couple wins, he could be there.
He just got an
Andre
opponent.
Muniz is working his way up, but even then, you know, he needs a couple wins.
But there's 3-4 guys who are coming up though, and some of those guys are gonna have to fight and push each other out of the way. And then at the same time, some of those guys are gonna get stopped by some of the guys that are already ranked right there. I mean, shit, Marvin Vettori's only 28, bro, which is fucking, and Robert Whitaker's only 31, bro. They're gonna be around for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anyways, I think it's probably time to move on past that fight. Up next on the main card was a welterweight, just absolute war between Bryan Barberena and Robbie Lawler. On one hand, I was happy to see Bryan get the win. He did get the win, TKO.
It was bittersweet, just say it.
It was bittersweet. It was very bittersweet. Because Bryan Barberena, it was kind of a passing of the torch moment to a degree. Bryan Barberena's not going to be a welterweight champion anytime soon, but he's a guy that comes to bang every single time. I mean, he's had like 5 fight of the nights in his last 7 fights or something. Like, just insane. And, Robbie looked so good in round 1. Even round 2, like, he was looking good and then he got caught. Them's the breaks when you're 40, man. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on that one.
It was fun, man. It was fun while it lasted. You saw me. I was hyping up Robbie Lawler. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was on that. He
was slipping him like he was fucking prime Roy Jones, man.
Dude, you fucking had that head moving like he was Pernell Whitaker. Like, there was like a fucking like 10-shot combination, man. None of them landed. I'm like, dude, none of those are hitting. It was sick. I loved it. But then once they hit, that was a different story.
Yeah.
You can only, hey man, you'll get, if you throw them out there so many times, one will eventually hit, right? Like, that was the thing. And Bryan Barberena threw enough out there where one eventually hit and he got hurt. And dude, he was out of it for a minute, dude, cause I was like, oh fuck, he's out. He's still out. And he was trying to move.
he was in it. He never went out. And,
he was, what's the word for it?
He was gone.
He was compromised.
Yeah, he was compromised.
He was compromised, and you could tell for a while he was just like, fuck, man, I need to come back. I need to get in here. And he was throwing, man. He was still swinging, but, I mean, you can only take so much. And at 40 years old, man, God, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do after this. Maybe, I mean, hey, man, he's done everything. Like, what else do you want to do, man? You've gotten your time. Everybody loves you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can walk away comfortably. But, he's a man. Who am I to question his decisions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, I think at this point in Robbie's career, he can put on some fun fights, but, that was just a tough one, man. I mean, that was an incredible fight. But it was still really tough to see, because I believe that drops Robbie to, like, one win in his last 6 fights, I think? Something like that. It's been rough, man. And that one win was a win over Nick Diaz, so.
And then the amount of hits, bro. Like,
yeah, he's taking a lot of damage. I don't know, man. I think that he still has a place in this sport because, I mean, he looked so good in round 1 until he got caught. So I don't necessarily think we should push his retirement because Bryan's right outside the top 15. He's a very skilled guy in his own right. I don't want to take this as like, it's not like he went out there and got murked by some garbage dude. But
I think they need to do what they did with Jim Miller with him, like find like fun, interesting matchups, and then maybe the occasional young guy who isn't like a world beater, but could give him a good look, and give a good fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they probably do that. Either go ahead and give him some veterans or give him some young guys that are not too risky. So that's just my opinion. But anyways, man, probably time to move on. Opening up the main card, not a lot to say about this one. Pedro Munoz, Sean O'Malley ends in a no contest. Pedro got hit with a dick kick, Sean got the free one in round number 1. Round 2 got another free one in, I poked him. And them's the breaks, that's the end of the fight. Not a lot to say about this one. Sean said he was dominating this one, and Pedro won it out. He was losing on the scorecards in case you guys are curious, but it wasn't like, this fight essentially had nothing happen. So, yeah, I mean, give me your take on this one. There's not a whole lot to really say here. I'm just going to say this one real quickly. I don't want to see this rebooked. I have no interest in seeing this again.
It was a fucking disappointment. Let's just be honest. I
mean, it was a terrible fight.
You never want to see a fight end like that, and it also wasn't a very good fight in the first round. And the second round was kind of picking up, but who the fuck knows what could have happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows what could have happened? I thought, round 1 was close. I thought round 2, Sean was getting the better of him, but it wasn't by a wide margin.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely not by a wide margin. I thought Munoz won round 1, round 2, Sean was coming on, but it's not like it fucking matters now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whatsoever. And I'm going to be clear. I do not want to see this one rebooked.
Who do you want to see him fight?
Sean or Pedro? Are you asking for both?
For Sean.
For Sean, man, let me take a quick look at the rankings because this fight sucked, man. I really don't want to see this one again. Okay, who is Dom Cruz fighting next?
Cheeto.
Cheeto.
If you name I know all the matchups, just tell me.
I think I want to see Sean fight either Frankie Edgar or the winner of Cheeto versus Cruz. Or the loser. Just somebody, one of those three. How about that? Because Frankie's not doing anything right now, but I think that'd be a really good fight to see what Frankie has left, and he'd see if he can go ahead and also test Sean's grappling, which we haven't really seen. I know a lot of people are probably going to hate that because they think that,
Sean's slick on the mat, though.
He is slick on the mat, but I'm talking about, wrestling is different than just pure, jiu-jitsu competitions. So.
That's true, too. I'm just saying, he's slick on the mat, so maybe he could do something there.
Mm-hmm. But, anyways, man, I think those fights make sense. Either Dom Cruz, the Cheeto rematch, or Frankie Edgar. But, yeah, I have no interest in the Pedro fight again. And it's unfortunate, because I feel bad. And the thing is, man, if you think that Pedro Munoz wanted out of that fight, man, I understand it did not look bad. The eye poke didn't look that bad, but you can't really judge just how it looked. Do you know what I mean? That's extremely stupid. This guy fought killers, dude. I mean, you look at his resume: Rob Font, Jimmy Rivera, Rafael Sunsao, John Dodson, Garbrandt, Aljamain Sterling, Frankie Edgar, Jimmy Rivera twice, Jose Aldo, Dom Cruz. I mean, he fought the who's who. If you think he wanted out of that fight, which was super close, you're I don't even know. But
fucking insane.
Yeah, so that was just, I don't know, man. That was a rough one. But as far as the prelims go, man, I think we probably just go one down, man. Jalen Turner. You and I kind of thought it was a bit of a weird matchup because Jalen Turner, he's a solid win streak going, but it's not anything that blows your hair back, especially when looking at the competition.
Mm-hmm.
He's facing Brad Riddell, and Brad Riddell's just this is a kid who's coming off an insane fight with Rafael Vaziv, not ranked high, but he was ranked 14 or whatever. Dude, Jalen Turner needs 45 seconds to beat him with a guillotine choke. This kid is 27. And god damn, he's only getting better. He's a scary problem for God. I'm just gonna say he's a scary guy in this division. So go ahead and give me your take on it.
Good for him, man. Like I told you, it threw me off. Like I told you at the time, if you looked at the record at face value without looking at how the record actually went, I'm like, it's not a bad record, but you wouldn't think, oh shit, this guy's on a little run here. You thought he had 2 wins, maybe a lot. You know what I mean? But no, all the wins are in a row. All the losses are old.
Yeah,
and he's very young. He has a very high ceiling from what we see. He's very big. He's 6'3", massive frame. He comes out of that Carlson Gracie gym in Riverside, so we already know he's got some good work on the mat. And he has some power in the hands. He looks to be pretty strong. I mean, I'm curious to see where he goes from here, man. I hope he continues to grow. I mean, he just turned 27 this year, which is. I mean, that's a scary thought for anybody, and fuck, man, that's just another killer at 155, man, which is just it's just a pool of sharks, bro. It's a pool of fucking sharks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a pool of sharks. And dude, this Jalen Turner. I mean, you brought up how young he is, dude. Those losses were a long time ago, and he was 20. Shit, he got in the UFC 2018. That was 4 years ago. He was 23 years old when he got in the UFC. So a lot of those old losses, that's just somebody be you guys see his fight with Matt Frivola, this kid is not very great. It's dude, he was 24, 23, 24.
Wasn't he fighting at a different weight class too at the time? Wasn't he fighting at
that was I think that might have been his first fight down at lightweight. He had just moved down from welterweight, but essentially, yeah. But, yeah, man, I think if you can't count that shit. He was so young then, and he's still getting better. Especially people are being he's a weight bully. You guys ever hear that term, which is the weirdest thing to me? Because
everybody weight bullies, dude. Yeah,
that's what weight cutting is. So, and even then, he showed himself on the scale. He's 6'3". I think he weighed 175. That's not that crazy.
That's not the biggest one we've seen, man.
Not even close. Some guys at lightweight get as high as 190. Come on, man. But. Anyways, man, I mean, moving one down, we had 2 retirements on this card. One of them coming in this fight right here. Jim Miller defeats Donald Cerrone via submission guillotine choke in round 2. I actually thought Cowboy looked a lot better in this one than he had in recent fights. He actually had a good body kick going. He was being active, but then in round 2, he went down after a kick. He just looked like he slipped and got caught in a guillotine choke when he tried to get up. That was his 2nd loss in a row and his, I believe, 6th loss in his last 7 fights, and he decided to call it quits. The Cowboy decided to ride off into the sunset. And he apparently said that he knew this was coming for a long time. So Angel, more than just the fight, man, because the fight was what it was. Not a lot to take away from it, in my opinion. It was an old dude fight, you know. But you want to give me your favorite Cowboy Cerrone moment and just kind of your thoughts on his entire career as a whole.
He's one of those guys that it's hard not to like him. You know, it took me a while to appreciate him. But dude, I was on that run, man. When he was stringing those wins together, dude. Mike Perry, Alexander Hernandez, Ali Quinta. I was with him for that, dude. I picked him to win those fights, and I was coming off of those Darren Till, Robbie Lawler, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards losses at the time. He struck them together. They gave him some tough fights, and they didn't go his way. But I had a lot of confidence in him. I thought he could do some stuff, and. Shit, man. I mean, it happens at that age. What can you expect? I mean, at the end of his career, he fought fucking killers, dude. I don't think, you can I mean, Josh, these were 4 fights in a row that Cowboy received at one point. Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis. Name a guy who's fought 4 guys in a row like that in the UFC. Not many who are in championship caliber status, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a murderer's row. And before that, dude, Ali Quinta, Alexander Hernandez, Mike Perry, all guys that are fucking dangerous in their own right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you keep going back, and they're all still killers. You know what I mean? It doesn't end. There's a lot of moments, man. I'd say. I'll always love the McNugget. You know, to go right ahead, McNugget. Tell him, you know, Connor.
Yeah.
And then one of it's a YouTube video. I'm not giving them credit, you know, I'm not promoting them. They're not sponsored, but, you know, Cowboy humbles Alexander Hernandez.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
It's one of the greatest things out there, man.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, man, I mean, it's almost impossible to pick, like, favorite Cowboy Cerrone moment because there's just so many of them. And, you know, he was the epitome. Like, a lot of guys say they'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Cowboy Cerrone is maybe one of, like, a few fighters who actually means that. There was not a single... It didn't matter if it was going up and fighting Darren Till in London when or, you know, fighting a prime RDA or going up and fighting Robbie Lawler right after he lost the title. He was bouncing between weight classes for a long time. And he had some incredible runs, dude. I think there were multiple times when he got close to winning the title. I think he had that, people forget just how close he was, man. I mean, he had that super close fight back in the day against Jamie Varner, where that's for the WEC title, he just came up short. There's another one, I believe his, first fight with Vincent Henderson for the EWC title, which was also super close. He may have never won a title in his career, but he got very, very close, man, and he was excellent. I think you can make a case for being a top 10 lightweight of all time. People bring up, like, oh, he couldn't beat the top level of competition. I don't agree with that. I mean, he beat a lot of guys who were champions or former champions. You know, he beat the who's who. I never understood that take. I mean, he holds a win currently over Charles Oliveira. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And Benson Henderson.
Benson Henderson's another one. Eddie Alvarez is another. So, it's just a lot of guys, man. I mean, prime Cowboy from like I'd probably say like 2013, 2014 up until like 2017. That motherfucker could not lose. He was just murking. I mean, obviously he lost to RDA during that stretch. He got caught in that title fight. I remember that was like the USA on Fox card. Outside of that, man, he was unstoppable. I think he was unreal. So, yeah, man, congrats on an amazing career. On the opposite side of things, I should go and give some props to Jim Miller, officially the UFC's win leader now. So you love to see it, man. He got a new contract, and I think he's gonna. Angel, I told you for a while now, he's gonna make it UFC 300.
Well, I think they just guaranteed it. I think they spoke to him and they're like, "Yeah, we'll get you on that." Yeah,
they said if he's still on the roster, they'll give it to him. So, yeah, man, you really do love to see it. Just he's a veteran of the game who's still competitive now, and I remember back in the day whenever he got oh man, what disease does he have? Is it Lyme disease? It's like
I mean, that would make sense. I mean, that's a common.
Yeah, Lyme disease. He has Lyme disease. I remember there was conversation that, like, you know,
that's ended careers, dude.
He was thinking about retiring, and that was back in like 2016, I think. And then like he just kept on winning, and he just stayed around, you know. So shout out Jim Miller, dude. A pure vet. Just love to see it. Still winning fights. He's on a 3-fight winning streak now, so that's crazy. 38 years young. The OG, Jim Miller. So, yeah, man, I think there's a couple of other fights to go ahead and go over. I think I highlighted the ones I really want to talk about. So what other fights do you want to talk about?
I need to highlight the banger of the night, in my opinion. Dricus versus Brad Tavares, dude. Fucking fun fight. Smart fight by Dricus? I don't know. But I like watching Dricus. So, I don't give a fuck. He's a fun dude. I don't know how good he's gonna be. He's very big, and I think he relies a lot on his power and just landing big shots. I don't know how that's going to work at him for this weight class. There's a lot of guys who are good on the feet, pretty, manageable on the ground. And 185 is that one weight class where, like, I think 185 is one of the few weight classes where everybody kind of has power. You know what I mean? Or where everybody starts having, like, really pretty good power. You know, like if you throw the shot, there's no pillow hands in 185. You know what I mean? I can't think of anybody who's like touch in 185. Like I think all those guys can, crack you if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I'm honestly, as much as I like the Robbie fight, I'm a little bit surprised that one did not win fight of the night, honestly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a banger, and shout out Dricus, man. And round one, it wasn't looking good for him, man.
No, I was like, damn, okay, well there goes my hype train.
Yeah, it was looking a little bit rough. But you know what, dude? Championship spirit. He rallied back. And he got the win. Because I remember he got dropped near the end of round one. So I was really, really impressed with his composure and his ability to bounce back. But, yeah, man.
No
Shout out him getting the win. Another guy I was impressed with, Ian Gary. I know that some people, and admittedly, I was hyped for him when he first got in the UFC, and then he had a couple of man performances. By far the best performance of his career to this point. Gabriel Green, I mean, he's not a champion or anything, but he's a pretty damn good guy, and he just dominated, and he looked really, really good. So that was a sweet performance by Ian Gary. Andre Muniz defeating Uriah Hall, solid win for Andre. I wish he would have gotten a finish, or at least done a little bit more to cement it, but I get it, Also, Macy Barber defeating Jessica I. Jessica I decided to retire after the fight. Any thoughts on that one, Angel?
I mean, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But good for her. It's nice to see her decide, hey, shit's not going my way. Time to move on. I know she has some other ways that she can support herself financially, which is great for her. And nothing wrong with that. Do your thing. And I saw she gave some love to Macy afterwards, man. I always love that. Macy's so young. I mean, she's literally a fucking, in the eyes of her, a fucking kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was seeing her fight while she was training and was literally a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Macy's like our age.
She's not much older than us, So yeah. She looked up to her at some point, or at least watched her, and was like, "Damn, this chick is cool. I want to be up there." And she fought her and got to, she got the win. And good for Macy because. Like Macy had a few, weird fights in there, some performances, a questionable win, and it was nice to see her get a win over someone who's a name like Jessica I. Obviously sad for Jessica I, but good for Macy. It was kind of in a slight way, kind of the passing of the torch, and not necessarily, but it was kind of like, do your thing, kid.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, I mean, I think Jessica I got a bit clowned on too much for her career. I really do think so. I mean, was she a champion? No. But, dude, her staying power in the UFC, she's been in the UFC since, like, women first got in the UFC, dude. Like, she was there the entire time. She had some solid wins. I remember back a couple of years ago when she went ahead and blew up Leslie Smith's eye. That was crazy. Not eye, excuse me, her ear. When it exploded or whatever. That was crazy. When she got her title shot against Shevchenko, I thought that was honestly well deserved. I thought she had a good run. She had her moments, man. She really, really did. So congrats to her. I thought it was a good career. And yeah, that was honestly a really, really fun fight. Hey, if there's a way for just a guy to go out, it was that fight with Macy Barber, just them fucking throwing hands, going huge in the clinch. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of her thing, anyway. So yeah, man. Shout out her on a phenomenal career. And then opening up the card, Julia Silodarenko, man. Big fan of her. Wasted no time getting it done. Submission round one, Jessica Rose Clark. So shout out to her. Going to likely stay in the UFC with that one. So, All right, yeah. So shout out Julia Silodarenko for getting an excellent win. But I think it's time to move on to this Saturday night, UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. UFC Vegas 58, a lightweight banger between Rafael dos Anjos, number 7 UFC lightweight rankings, taking on Rafael Fiziev, ranked number 10 in the lightweight rankings. Both these guys looking to break into title contention. RDA obviously moved back down to lightweight in 2020. Since then, he's picked up wins over Paul Felder and Renato Moicano. Fiziev, on the other hand, riding a excellent 5-fight winning streak where he has looked dominant. So go ahead and give me your take on this lightweight banger.
It's a fun fight, man. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are kind of writing off RDA. I'm not sure why. I feel like you kind of look at his last few performances at 155, and yeah, sure, Paul Felder on late notice, as late as you could fucking be. But hey, man, he did his thing. Renato Moicano, a fucking clinic. Before that, Kevin Lee. Granted, though, that Kevin Lee fight was at 170, but Kevin Lee, former 155er. Look, before his departure from 155, he was doing good at 155. I think he's gonna do good. I don't know if this is a surprise to Josh. I'm actually gonna go with RDA. I think RDA is gonna be Fiziev.
I don't think that's a bad take, honestly. I really don't think it's a bad take. I think that Fiziev's never fought 5 rounds. I think that RDA, I think he has more ways to win. I think most people forget how good his wrestling is. If you forget how good his wrestling is, go rewatch that fight with Colby Covington, where he has a lot more success than, people remember. Took him down multiple times. I think he has more ways to win. He's fought 5 rounds more recently. I'm also going to take RDA. I think RDA right now, he's a guy that I don't think people are going to truly appreciate until he's gone. He's 37, but he still looks great. He beat the shit out of Renato Moicano last time out, and I understand he took that fight on short notice, but, I just think that he's looking very, very good right now. He's looking very, very good right now. And Rafael Fiziev, I think he's good, but I don't know, man. I've just never been as big of a believer, probably because of that Bobby Green fight, where Bobby Green did really, really well, much better than he probably should have.
He's still really unproven to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's never fought like a top-level guy. I mean, I guess Brad Riddell, but even Brad Riddell's, having issues himself right now, so.
Yeah, he was a lingering guy.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take RDA to go ahead and pull off the upset win here. But anyways, man. Moving on to the co-main event. Interesting, I'll go and say it. This is an interesting card. But even more interesting is the way that they structured the card. The co-main event, Caio Borralho taking on Armen, Petrosian? Is that how you pronounce that?
Petrosian?
Yeah, we'll go Petrosian. Both these guys interesting prospects at 185 pounds. Both only have 1 loss on their records. Armen coming off a solid win, I'd say, over Gregory Rodriguez back in February. Caio Borralho, though, I'd say he's the more hyped guy. He's coming off a win in April. So go ahead and give me your take on this interesting co-main event.
I believe they're both Contender Series guys. I do remember seeing some of their fights. At the time, I was really excited for Petrosian. I mean, obviously a little smaller record, good stand-up. Borralho kind of comes from, no fucking surprise, jiu-jitsu background, strong, good ground game. Trying to improve on his stand-up, but I'm sure that he's gotten better over time with that. I don't know, man. This one really throws me off. As far as UFC, we probably could have done some better research, but I didn't think this was actually the co-main. I thought it was actually Said versus Douglas Silva de Andrade, and it was just a mistake on Google.
Yeah.
Just for sake of picking someone, I'm going to pick Borralho. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, this is I don't know why the hell this is the co-main event, because there's so many other fights that,
they could have put Cynthia Calvillo and Nina Nunes at co-main.
That would have made a lot more sense. Michael Johnson, Jamie Mullarkey. Saeed is a clear one, Zahabi versus Ricky Turcios even makes more sense than this. But anyways, yeah, I'll take Caio Borralho. I think he has potential. He's younger, coming off a solid win. So yeah, I'm going to go and take him in the co-main event. But as far as the rest of the card goes, man, go ahead and give me your fights that you're most looking forward to.
Oh, man. Well, for starters, Saeed Nurmagomedov, Douglas Silva de Andrade. Douglas Silva Andrade, for my money, this year, was my leading guy for fight of the year in his fight against his comeback win against Sergey Morozov. You know, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how good he's going to do against Saeed. It might not go very well, but he's a fun guy. He's a fighter, dude. Obviously, he's a tough dude. He has a lot of ways to win. He has a lot of different things he could do. I think he could give a good look to Saeed. If anything, I think he'll present a good challenge. I know we're not picking, but you can kind of see the way I'm kind of going. So I'm pretty excited for this fight. I think we'll be interested. Saeed, he's already lost in the UFC, so it's not impossible for him to lose again. Obviously, he's not untouchable, as we can see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm very shocked that's not the co-main event. But yeah, that's honestly a great fight. Saeed, not untouchable, but also Douglas Silva de Andrade is very, very good. I remember back when he first came in the UFC, he was the hyped guy up until he fought Petr Yan. Like he was super hyped until he fought him. But yeah, and even then he's coming off 2 solid wins in a row, especially that Sergey Morozov fight, which was a banger, an absolutely crazy war. So yeah, I'm psyched for that one. Also on the main card, I'm glad to see Chase Sherman's getting another shot. I am, even though he's lost.
The fucking disrespect though, Josh. Cut from the UFC, brought back.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, he was willing to fight that monster on a couple of days' notice, so you got to give him credit.
Right.
Cynthia Calvillo, she's going to be back. Taking on Nina Nunes, they both need a win very badly. Very, very badly. Nina Nunes is going to be her first flyweight fight, I believe. She's lost 2 in a row. Calvillo's lost 3 in a row. Winner here really, they really got to have a win, so we'll see what happens there. Opening up the main card is honestly a banger between Jamie Malarkey and Michael Johnson. MJ went out there, got a solid win last time out. He knocked out Alan Patrick in a fight that he really needed to win, and he did it in excellent fashion. Jamie Malarkey's not a guy that's going to blow your hair back. He's 27 years young. He has scored a couple of wins in the UFC, especially over Kama Worthy, Devontae Smith, which are both knockouts. So yeah, man, I mean, he has some solid scalps on his resume. I mentioned earlier on the prelims, Alman Zahabi taking on Ricky Tercios. Neither one of those guys are ranked, but that is a banger. So be sure to watch the prelims for that one. And kind of the last couple fights I want to highlight. Anthony Shevchenko, Courtney Casey, this should be a solid one. And then also, our boy Trayshawn Gore is back against Cody Brundage. I like that fight a lot.
That's a good matchup right there.
For sure. Is there any other fights that I may have missed?
Oh, dude, what do you mean? You highlighted our boy, Kansas City very own, David Onama, back, officially signed, had a good performance against Gabriel Benitez last time out. Taking on Garrett Armfield, I believe UFC newcomer, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. Coming out of FAC, which makes sense that, I guess these guys are going to be fighting because, pretty sure he's fought, yeah, because that's the Independence promotion, so yeah. So there's a little bit of, maybe they had planned to fight before, or maybe there's some lingering, some bad blood there, who knows, I'm not sure. But, kind of interesting, they went with a guy from a promotion that David, fought in so much and had his come up in, and, a guy that, he's a work in progress, man. He's not there yet. He's having a little rough stint here. My guy, Kennedy Nzechukwu, man, the African savage himself, 2-fight skid, man. I hope he can get out of it because I'm a fan of this guy. I love his story. Taking on Carl Roberson. I'd say a good fight. Obviously, Carl Roberson coming off 3 losses in a row. Kind of doing the weight change, last time out against Khalil Roundtree, and now he's going to take on Kennedy Nzechukwu. So, I mean, this is kind of a big fight for him. Make or break here. Loses this, that's 4 in a row. And for Kennedy, obviously, he wants to get back on the winning path, especially after having 2 back-to-back losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a great fight there, and I can't believe I forgot to highlight our boy David Onama. So I feel bad about that, but yeah, man, that Carl Roberson fight, Kennedy Nzechukwu, should be a lot of fun. Overall, this is a solid card, man. This is a solid card. This is also one of the last cards that they're doing in the Apex, at least seemingly. Obviously, we can't look into the future, but this is the only Apex card this month, I believe. So, wow. A little bit surprising, but
that's wild.
It looks like they're going to go ahead and start taking fight nights out on the road. So, but anyways, man, yeah, I like this card a lot, but time to move on to some MMA and boxing news. Angel, are you ready? We got some stuff. Yeah. UFC London is actually going down 2 weeks from now. It's going to be Saturday, July 23rd in the O2. In the co-main event, it's supposed to be Darren Till taking on Jack Hermanson. In the end, Darren Till ends up having to pull out. And Chris Curtis, who has won 3 fights in a row in the UFC, is stepping in on short notice. Is this a great replacement? To me, I think you cannot do better as far as like replacements go than this fight. I like this fight maybe even more than the original, honestly.
I'm on the same boat as you, man. It's nice. I remember I told you last year, I was like, Chris Curtis needs to get on a fucking roll because he's on a small time frame. And he's doing it, man. The excitement is being done properly. And I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like this fight a lot, man. And Chris Curtis, I hate the fact that he's not ranked, but hey, this skyrockets him if he wins. I mean,
he gets to be the co-main.
He gets to be the co-main, and if he wins, he moves from not ranked to inside the top 10. So, I mean, it's more than ideal for him. I mean, there's not a better way for him, especially for a guy like Jack Hermanson, completely different fighter. Completely different. And it helps a lot, too, that Chris Curtis has done nothing but drill takedown defense for the past few months. So, he's coming in well prepared, man. So, I could not be happier for him to get this opportunity and to have the chance to break into the top 15. So, love to see it. Yeah, man. And then as far as moving on to another piece of news, Angel, you ready? It's Tommy Fury has become Tommy Fumbles for the second time in the last 6 months.
Oh man.
It's not his fault. I mean, let's be clear here. There is
no. We know that.
There's but there's still a lot of people saying like, why didn't he go to the embassy? Like as if like you can clear up being connected to like a mobster by going to a fucking embassy. Like I feel
I heard it wasn't all that. Funny enough.
Okay, what'd you hear it was?
I just heard that it wasn't all that. Like it wasn't disclosed why they weren't doing it. Like there was more to it outside of just that. Apparently, I don't know.
Well, either way, apparently what it has to do with is him being connected to Daniel Kinahan. And if that's the case, which it most likely is, there's zero way this can get cleared up. Especially as soon as like a month out, you know what I mean? So Tommy's not ducking. That's not what's happening at all. So I don't want that to be the narrative. But regardless,
he is though. I'm just kidding.
Regardless, Jake is still going to be fighting on August 6th. Coming in on roughly a month's notice is Hasim Rahman, Jr., son of former heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman. He's mostly known for having those 2 fights at Lennox Lewis back in the day, where one of them was a huge upset, knocked out Lennox. And, you know, his son's been a boxer for a while now. He had over 100 amateur fights. I could be off, but he did have a lot of amateur fights. 12-1 pro record. He's coming off a knockout loss to, funnily enough, Tommy Morrison's son earlier this year. But the big thing is that he's a heavyweight. This kid's never fought below 224 pounds, I believe. He's a big boy, 6'3", much bigger. The big thing is that these two have trained together. There's a bit of a storyline there. Hasim helped him before the Nate Robinson fight. So yeah, man, there's a bit of a story there. So Angel, go ahead and give me your take on this fight. I went ahead and said it on Twitter that as far as matchups go, this is a lot more challenging than Tommy Fury fight. I'll get into that in a minute, but go ahead and give me your take on this one.
That's what I've been seeing too, man. I saw a lot of people who were giving a lot of props to Jake. They're like, finally, you know what I mean? Everybody's giving him props. Everybody's more excited about this matchup than the Tommy matchup by a long shot. And I think people are going to be like, oh shit, you know, they're going to kind of be taken back here, regardless if the guy's coming off a knockout loss or not. They're going to be like, this is a respectable opponent. This is a formidable opponent for any guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and there's, you know, you got to believe for some reason, I mean, they're taking a risky fight, right? And a guy with a lot of experience, who's obviously trained with him, knows his holes, knows his mistake, has spent a lot of time, has a lot of reps. I'm assuming Jake's team or, you know, his coaches must see something where they're like, we could take this guy on. You would imagine, right? Because this is a big step up from fucking Tyron Woodley, Nate Robinson, Deji, and Ben Askren, Anderson Gibb to this guy who's Had an amateur, fought in the AMs, came up as a kid, probably been doing, watched his dad do the thing, has done it as a professional, done it 16 times, going to be going in for his 17th bout, officially as a pro. I mean, Jake is risking a lot here, man, for himself.
Yeah,
but you gotta respect it.
Yeah,
you
do gotta respect it because I gave him props to the Tommy Fury step up, and it's interesting because this is kind of like a fight where it's like you can argue whether it's like more or less difficult in the Tommy fight, but
I feel like he's leapfrogging though, dude.
To an extent, because I think here's the thing. So stylistically, this is a fight that if Jake were a better boxer, I'd say he'd win easy. Just because, like, I've watched Hasim Rahman fight before. I went back and watched film yesterday just to make sure I remember correctly. He's not very fast. He has his hands low. He kind of has like a Roy Jones style where he leaves his hands at his waist. The difference is he's not really fast enough to kind of do that, and he has a relatively bad gas tank, and he's also taking this fight at a month's notice. So if Jake were a lot better, I'd totally pick him. Difference is, though, is that he's not a lot better. He's 5 fights into his career, and Hasim is a lot bigger than him. The fact that he's going to have to cut a lot of weight, though, is kind of a big hang-up,
and he's a legitimate pro.
He is a legitimate pro. He's a guy that had hopes of, I don't know about fighting for a title, but there was definitely hope there.
I mean, he still has hope. I mean, it's only one loss, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting fight. I do think it is extremely compelling to me, arguably more compelling than the Tommy Fury fight. I think this will sell less than the Tommy Fury fight, but I think he'll earn more praise if he wins.
From the purist.
Yeah, because there's already people making excuses like, him and Hasim trained before, which they did. They did train before, but that was, 2 years ago. And a lot could change in 2 years, man. So
for both of them. I mean, they've had a lot happen in their lives, and I'm excited to see what happens. I think what was I going to get with here? I think at the end of the day, man, there's just a lot to risk. That's really all it is, and it's time. I know what I was going to say. If he wins this, Josh, there's no more joking around.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could kind of say that confidently. I think the YouTube boxing, I mean, if he wins this, he moves away from YouTube boxing. Like officially.
With the exception of the KSI fight. With the exception.
But even then,
but come on, there's no way that would not get made if KSI beats Alex and then.
Yeah, well, then I don't even know, dude. I don't even know what they're gonna do. I don't know what's gonna go on in that realm because that's the zone. This is another thing. You know what I mean? And now we're getting to, like I said, Josh. Now we're that real boxing shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole another story too, because that's gonna be a whole situation in and of itself. And, I mean, in my opinion, Josh, if he does win this, like I'm telling you, I think he's kind of outgrowing, and he's kind of already done it, is outgrowing YouTube boxing. Or celebrity boxing as a whole.
Sure.
To an extent, but you know what I mean though, like.
If he beats him, he's a legit boxer.
Shit gets real. That's what I'm saying.
There's no more quantifiers you can put on it.
That's what I'm saying. There's no more jokes. The fun and games are done after this, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, just as far as, I gotta ask this, who are you leaning towards as of this moment? Your early impressions. The fight literally just got announced today. What do you think?
Look, I'm leaning towards the pro. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think you're an idiot if you don't pick the pro. But for the sake of me being funny, Josh, I kinda wanna see him win, Josh. Cause for some reason, I love the anger. I love seeing these people get mad.
I know you do.
I love the meme, you know what I mean? And I've been for it. And look, I was one of those Jake Paul people that I was never on the Jake Paul, train. I never liked Jake Paul. But dude, I gotta admit, man, I like the shit that he does. I like the fact that he gets people shooken up and he makes them feel some type of way.
Mm.
I like that. And I like that he's shaking up the space, this realm, you know what I mean?
Mm. No, for sure. And to a degree, I like it too, just because I think it's interesting that,
and it's funny to me.
No, it is pretty funny. And I like seeing people get upset about it. I think it is honestly pretty fucking funny. But I mean, I don't really care one way or the other who wins, if that makes sense. Like, if I just wanted to be entertained. How about that?
I mean, I don't know. I kind of don't want it to end. That's what kind of want Jake to win.
I think if Jake loses, I don't think he'll quit.
I don't think he'll
just
quit.
because there's so many. This is the weird in between fight, right? Because I think he's taking this fight because he wants to earn the respect from people, but he's going to make by far the least amount of money. But also, he needs to take this step in order to keep people interested. Because if he doesn't take this step, like, he's going to have to fight, like, who would he fight from an MMA? He'd fight some washed MMA guy? Like,
Diaz. Finally.
that's what's next. That's what I'm saying. Like, he needs to keep people intrigued for the Nate Diaz fight. And if he goes out there and beats this guy, shit, you got people intrigued. Or even if he doesn't win, people are still going to watch it because it's a Nate fight. They're like, oh, well,
would you be surprised if he knocked him out? If he knocked out this kid?
Shit. I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. I think it would just depend on how it goes, you know? Because his team has a lot of factors in his favor, but also, like I said, stylistically, it's a fight that Jake should win. I mean, just stylistically, but
you said it like if Jake was a better boxer.
Is he at that stage yet to where he's supposed to win these stylistic fights? I don't know. You know what I mean? We also haven't seen a fight in like 7 months, and for a guy that young, 7 months is a long time to improve.
And he's been proactive though. He's been proactive and he's been doing his thing.
Exactly. So I think a lot of it depends on, you know, is Hasim the real deal? For me, I think it's more important if Hasim's the real deal more than Jake. Because if Hasim's taking his training seriously, he's had a lot of.
I want to believe so, dude, because he grew up in that. You know, he comes from that. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, his dad was heavyweight champion. His dad's actually a really well-known trainer too. I believe his dad trained against Michael Hunter.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so,
I refuse to believe that there isn't something there. Like, if I'm like, you know, obviously we're not doing predictions.
Not yet, no.
Not yet, but if you had to go away, you have to go with the pro. You know what I mean? It only makes sense. You know, if you're telling me this guy had all these amateur bouts, this is this guy's background. You know, his dad's a trainer. He's training this guy who's on, you know, doing well. You know, he's only had one loss on him was recent, and it was to a guy who's fucking good in himself, and also had a dad who's a pro, and you know, has these accolades and all that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it only makes sense, you know. And he's fought all these rounds, and you know, he's been under the bright lights. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure on him too. There's a lot of factors, right? Obviously, we're not there yet. We're what, a month away?
Roughly. Fight's going down August 6th.
Yeah, we're a month away. Almost exactly a month to the day, right?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, fuck, man, it's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be a crazy card, crazy night. I mean, we're definitely, fuck, man, I hope we're together for that, Josh. I'm not gonna lie.
I probably will be.
I'll need some emotional support during that because I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
I know, I'll probably be there. But yeah, man, it is an extremely interesting fight. I'll put it like that. I think people are already setting up excuses. They're like, oh, you know, Hasim and Jake trained before, you know, he's gonna take a fall. I'm like, dude,
I knew that. Knew that was going to be a thing.
They trained like 2 fucking years ago, and
especially if he gets knocked out, dude, people are going to be like, dude, he gave him the signal, dude. You saw it in the corner.
And by the way, one quick thing for a lot of MMA fans, like MMA, there's like there are boxing gyms, you know what I mean? But like on average, boxers tend to like switch camps a lot more often than MMA guys. They're way more willing to go help out. Boxers, we just watched Tyson Fury and Dillian White fight. They train together. You know what I mean? Like, guys train together all the fucking time. Like, yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's not as big a deal. Huh?
Canelo and Gennady, they train together.
Yeah, they train together. It's pretty normal for guys to switch. I mean, we see all the big guys, switch. AJ just switched camps. You know what I mean? Like, it's relatively normal for that. Well, he switched from Rob McCracken to, what's his name? I can't remember his new coach's name, but yeah, he just switched camps too. So, yeah. It's pretty normal. So I really them training together really does not matter too much. Although I do find it interesting. I guess Jake gave some comments like ESPN because this fight got announced literally. I mean, I know it's been happening for like a day or two, but this fight just got announced right now. And I guess he gives some comments to ESPN. He's like, yeah, my manager told me not to take this fight. My manager Ronald told me not to take this fight. Logan told me not to take this fight, but I want to take this fight. So yeah, I mean, especially on a month's notice, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting call by him because I really thought once the Tommy Fury fight got pulled, I thought, well, shit. I mean, who are we gonna get? You know, I didn't figure we'd get anybody good. You know, but I don't know, man. We're gonna find out. August 6th, MSG, Angel. We'll see what happens.
Dare to be great.
This is a dare to be great moment, so we'll see.
I just saw Amanda Serrano's tweet, and next point for those who kept asking for a rematch, here you fucking go. A legit heavyweight with a great record, 12-1 with over 100 amateur fights.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, man, definitely an interesting call by him, but we'll see what happens on August 6th. Press conference next Tuesday, I think, so get your popcorn.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Anyways, man, last bit of news is a bit of a comedy, honestly, but, regardless, Daniel Cormier and Khabib Nurmagomedov and I believe Cub Swanson and Doo Ho Choi were inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame last Friday night, and it was honestly great to see. If you guys don't know, actually, Doo Ho Choi, Cub Swanson is probably my favorite fight of all time. I think I may have said that on the show before, but seeing them get that recognition, especially two guys who normally wouldn't make it to the Hall of Fame anyway, honestly, I'd love to see it. Khabib making it, not a big surprise, but DC made some headlines because there's a lot of people who are getting real upset about it, getting real angry because DC admitted after 5 years that he grabbed the towel and he apologized to Rumble Johnson, and it was really kind of funny. But then there's some people who decided to get on Twitter and be really upset about it for some reason. Angel, I'll ask this in the most plain terms that I can. Do you give a fuck?
I don't.
Angel, I don't give a fuck either.
I told you in the green room, it's not like he hadn't said it like a million times before that he did.
And also, we have eyes, so.
Right?
I don't give a shit at all, but there were some people who were getting really upset about it, and part of it is because they were being like, we just saw Charlie Olives get stripped of the title, and those are also completely different circumstances. Here's a fun fact because you guys are curious. Dude, it was not on the rule books in New York for you to not grab a towel. That was completely allowed. So I don't understand why people are still pissed off about it. It was quite literally allowed for him to grab the towel. They changed the rules afterwards, but whenever DC grabbed that towel, completely legal. So, whatever. Right. But there were some people like MMA journalists and a couple other ones being like, should this be a laughing matter? And I'm like, yes. Because weight cutting is bullshit, and I don't care, if you're getting, mad.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah, and also, we all agree that weight cutting is bullshit, but then some people are like, but is it fair that DC grabbed the towel? I'm like, no, it's not fair, but who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. It is what it is,
I bet your Rumble weighed more than DC that night anyways.
It was probably close, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so.
Okay. Yeah, man, I honestly don't care.
How much did he weigh when he got on the scale originally? You remember?
I think it was 206.2.
Oh my god, that's fucking nothing.
Let me actually see if I'm right about that, because I think I have sports autism or something to where I can remember the most ridiculous shit.
You're a sports savant, Josh. I mean.
Oh my god, dude, I gotta do something in my life. He weighed 206.2. Beautiful. I got it exactly on the nose.
You'll love to see it.
Jesus Christ. I couldn't learn fucking anything about math to save my life back in the day, but guess what?
Or French.
Or French. I took 4 years of French, but I couldn't remember a fucking thing. I mean, I was getting busy in that class, though. I wasn't learning any French, though, but yeah.
Oh, my guy.
Anyway, so I couldn't remember any of the French. Guess what, though? I can remember exactly what Daniel Cormier weighed on a day back in May in 2017.
You'd love to see it.
Anyways, though, Aiden, you got anything else to say on this or anything else to talk about before we move on?
No, I think we covered everything. It was a fun show, man. It's always fun to recap a pay-per-view, and obviously it's a little no disrespect to fighters, but a little weaker card. I mean, there's a lot of fun guys, a lot of guys that I love. I think for the casual, maybe not the most exciting card, but for me, there's a lot of guys I like on there, and I'm excited for it anyways. And I mean, shit, next week, Josh, we got some Mexican on Mexican violence, my guy. Ryan Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez. Shout out Cuzzo.
Yeah, man. I'm sure you guys are absolutely related. I'm 100% sure of it. All Ortegas, they're all related, you know?
Don't you see how good looking I am? And don't you see how good looking he is? I mean, clearly it comes from my side of the family.
Oh, dude, for sure, honestly. I mean, he looks like a scrub compared to you, bro.
Do you think he could have got Tracy Cortez without, being related?
Without your genetics?
Exactly.
So ridiculous. Anyways, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I thought it was a pretty fun one. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at _01. I'm at Courtside Sound for all things related to the show on Twitter. And RogueEnergy.com. Code Soundoff at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and bud grease. Mouth clear.